Street Fighter is in an interesting spot. Street Fighter V released a couple of years ago now, and it came out the gate kind of busted. They rushed the game out. It was, not well received by critics or players, and it took them a long time and many updates to get that game to where it needed to be. And personally, as someone who is a huge fan of Street Fighter 4, played that game competitively, played it in tournaments, I played Street Fighter 5 in tournaments for a while as well. I ultimately bounced off of Street Fighter 5 because of, the game's limited feature set, the bad online play. I didn't like the character designs in the gameplay. It felt way too offensive heavy. It felt like there weren't enough different play styles in the game. It just felt like every character was inherently a rushdown character because it made offensive players were greatly rewarded versus defense, I felt. Double Jump, thank you for dropping by. I'll see you later. And the timing is different for Street Fighter 6 in the sense that Capcom is in a much better place post Street Fighter 5. I mean, as they were making Street Fighter 5, the budget was very, very low. They had to rush it. The only reason it even got made in the first place was because Sony stepped in to provide funding to make the game. And now we're at a different point in Capcom's history. Resident Evil's blown up, Monster Hunter's blown up. They got money, and they've had time to build Street Fighter 6. This game actually was supposed to be revealed last year, and they've delayed it to, one, make it better, two, rumor has it that the initial build of Street Fighter 6 was not going in the right direction, and that's why Yoshinori Ono's not on Street Fighter anymore. So now we've got our big reveal of Street Fighter 6, and they don't show a lot here. I mean, what we do see, we see some big beefy men. Ryu is very sweaty. He is the very high textured in the skin, and it may not have been the graphical style that any of us were expecting initially. Like, I personally kind of hoped, like, coming off of Street Fighter 4 where they tried to mix the 3D with the watercolor paint style, and now into Street Fighter 5, it was just kind of like a sharper version of that. I kind of thought that they were going to go more in the Guilty Gear style of like 3D but still anime looking, and instead they've gone the other way of going, we're going to try and make this like hyper realistic. Like, obviously, like, Ryu is like insanely wide with a 24 pack, but going the opposite way of like a super high fidelity graphical detail. We've got the Popeye arms going there. We're seeing like the veins popping out here. Yeah, RE Engine is, I'm pretty sure it's an RE Engine thing. This kind of looks cool here when they shift into the, like, almost the comic book style in the Japanese like watercolor painting style here. Oh, just that split second when we see it kind of mash into that's cool as hell. So we can't glean too much in terms of like how the game's going to play, how many characters are going to be there. We do know Luke is in the game. We've been told that he's going to be a big figure in Street Fighter 6. And, he was put into Street Fighter 5 as a tease for Street Fighter 6. But we do know that Capcom is going very aggressively in terms of making this game stand out. There is no other fighting game in the scene, like maybe NetherRealm games like your Mortal Kombats kind of have this sort of approaching realistic look. Everything else is kind of anime or like lower budget, and they're like, nah, we're throwing all the money at Street Fighter, and it's exciting to see. Hyperrealistic's always an issue long term because the graphics can age poorly. Yep, and I think there's still art style stuff to it. Like, Ryu is not necessarily realistic. There's definitely like a exaggerated look to him. We'll see how well it ages in the long run, but there's definitely no fighting games on the market that look this expensive. And for that, I am excited. We still have lots of question marks about how the game's going to play. but I approve of them trying stuff and trying to make it look different, try and make it look like a big budget game. And of course, the logo is a complete letdown. Everyone's seen the Adobe stock photo that this is ripped off from. They just kind of bent this downward and threw a number 6. And I hope that the logo is not indicative of how they treat the rest of the game, because they've got a lot of potential here based on what they've set up. I'm looking forward to playing this down the road. But yeah, what do you think about Street Fighter 6? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. What are you excited for Street Fighter 6? What do you want to see? Do you approve of this change in the art style? Let me know.